All right, well, what a weekend of footy that was, eh? It's pretty hard to believe that the week one of finals have finished. I can't believe we're in September already. I think it's insane how quickly this year's gone. It's going to be an interesting week two of finals, that's for sure. But I thought we'd just do a quick recap video of the weekend and what we all thought, and just to get your thoughts and opinions on who you think could go all the way from here, because we're down to 6, and at the end of next week we'll be down to 4. So let's start off with the Thursday night game. I had travelled from Adelaide to Ballarat that morning, and I was sitting up in the caravan park with my mate Gravy, and we were watching the Port Adelaide and Geelong qualifying final, and it was an absolute bloodbath. I couldn't believe that Port Adelaide did not show. That was a good first quarter, I'll admit that. It certainly was a letdown after that, though. Port Adelaide just came out. They actually played quite well in that first, but Geelong with those first 2 goals, and the second goal from Jezza Cameron on the boundary there, I don't know, it almost wrote the script for that game. It was just always going to be too hard for Port after that. Geelong were up and about. They just looked like Port didn't even look like a finals team. They got absolutely rolled at home. I don't know what it is with them in finals. I think it's, and again, I am a biased Crow supporter, so I found it hilarious. I loved it. It was the best way to start finals for someone like me. I was sitting there wiggling my toes the whole time, having the best time ever. But trying to take a step back and remove my Crows hat for a second, I just think that there's a mental block when they play finals. There's something there's a disconnect there. They play like Tarzan through the final season. They play like Jane in the finals. It's bizarre. I saw that comment in the Dabble chat on the weekend, and I thought that was very, very accurate. Couldn't believe how Geelong just completely overran. It was like one of the video AFL 23 games that I played in the last few days here. Just got absolutely destroyed. Was never in it from the get-go almost. They held it in the first quarter, and then after half-time, it was like 4 goals to 15 or something. Like, it was mental how hard Geelong ran over the top of them. And they are going to be playing a informed Hawthorn next week, which we'll move on to now. The Hawks and the Bulldogs, Friday night at the MCG. I got to be there, and I felt so lucky. I probably may know or not know, I did travel to Melbourne last year for the grand final, hoping to get tickets. And alas, I was not lucky enough to be included in the group of 100,000 people that got to go to the last year's grand final. So this year, going to a final with 97,000 people kind of felt like a good comeback from that, which was nice. We got to have a hand from an absolute legend on Instagram who got us some Hawthorn tickets early on. They gave us their membership code, and we were able to secure some tickets as soon as they came out. So that was good, and I was very, very thankful to him. And the game was incredible. The atmosphere was the best atmosphere I've probably ever been to. Maybe like 2016 Showdown, or maybe the Phil Walsh Showdown was probably slightly better for me and louder, but the G was absolutely insane. I loved it. My mate loved it. The game was great. First half of footy was competitive from both sides. And then the Hawks in the second half were just irresistible. They were so good. They were so strong. They just ran. The pressure was insane. And the Bulldogs just looked like almost taken aback by it. They just didn't know what to do. They didn't know where to go. They didn't know who to kick to because they were just under so much pressure. And the Hawks small forwards, oh my God. Led from the back though by Sicily, I've got to say. His leadership from the back lines, I can see now why he is such a good captain, because he just leads from the back so well. And being able to go to a game and see him work off camera was very, very eye-opening from a non-traditional Hawthorn fan. Obviously, for the night, I was a Hawthorn fan, but yeah, that was crazy. They played some really good footy, and they are going to go into Adelaide Oval with a load of confidence. And good luck to Port Adelaide, who are going to play them on Friday night coming up. We're going to do those predictions in another video, but that's going to be a tough one to watch. I'm going to go to that hopefully as well and support the Hawks. But good luck to Port Adelaide. That's all I'm going to say on that one. We move to the game on Saturday, which was the Swans and the Giants. Again, I watched this one live as well on the TV back in Adelaide. So I thought that the Giants started really well and they looked really strong, and they just got to three-quarter time and they just didn't put Sydney away. I think they had a few chances where they could have got a little bit further in front, maybe made it 40, 46 points. Instead, it was only about 28, 29 points at three-quarter time. Just had that feeling in it that Sydney were going to come back. I don't know what it was, what the game's sort of vibe was, but I just had a feeling that the Swans were going to come back, and sure enough, they kicked two quick ones, and the game was on from there. And Heaney just took an absolute two screamer marks, really. The diving slips catch to his right was unbelievable as well. Took it clean as a whistle, kicked the goal as well to kick off their momentum, and then to go and take probably a lot of people just being salty fans, but I thought Heaney's mark was genuinely mark of the year this year. Bobby Hills was good, Elliott's was good, but I think Heaney's, for just the height that he got, the rotation. And a lot of people saying Buckley didn't catch him, but if you watch the replay in slow motion, Buckley actually does have a hook of his leg and grabs his arm and kind of like, almost like does a wrestling move and pulls him up to stop him spiking. Otherwise, if he just fell back like that and let him go, Heaney would have fell and landed on either on his head or done a Jeremy Howe and hurt his arm or something like that. It could have been really bad. So shout out to Buckley for that. But Heaney was just unbelievable. 30 touches, 3 goals, I think he had. Like, just nuts. Just absolute clutch finals. Classy player. When you need your best players to rise up and play in the big moments, he certainly did, and he was just unbelievable. I thought the Swans were almost pretty lucky to get away with that win, but at the same time, like, you kind of felt like that was going to happen. Giants just never felt like they really put them to the sword, so it's going to be interesting next week when the Giants play the Lions in Sydney. There's a very good chance the Giants go out in straight sets. I personally want to see the Giants make the grand final. I would love to see an all-Sydney grand final. A rematch for that. Could you imagine how good that would be on the biggest stage that we have? I don't know. I just think it deserves that stage. That rivalry right now is so hot. But we'll move to the most disappointing game of the round, the Lions and the Blues. And the Blues didn't turn up at all, even with all their inclusions. Somebody check on Dan Gorringe. The poor bloke would be absolutely bleeding right now. But the 5 goals, 5 to no score in the first quarter from Carlton. Like, really? All that promise throughout the start, especially the first, 14 rounds when they were doing really well. And then, again, they did get a bit shaky towards the end of the year. But, really? You can't front up and kick a goal in the first quarter? That hadn't been done in a final since, 1914, and that was North Melbourne. Or something like that. I read that somewhere. It was, maybe 1934. But it's been ages since there's been a goalless or scoreless first quarter in a final for a team. That's crazy. Not the kind of record you want to be breaking. And then they were just too far away. They could never come back from that far. The Lions at one stage were almost 50 points up. You're not going to come back from that in a final. And especially with the form that they were in, and they just looked no good. And the Lions just looked too good. The Lions just looked like they were ready for finals, and the Blues looked like they weren't. So similar for Blues and Port, I guess. They just looked like they stumbled out of the blocks and just couldn't catch up. So Giants and Lions next week will be a good game, I reckon. But the rest of the finals are going to be good. It's not an easy choice who's going to win. I think the Cats playing at home. Are they going to play at home? That's the other thing too. Are the Cats actually going to be able to play at home, or are they going to play at the G? If they play at the G, I think they will be absolutely spewing. They have to play at the G. They have to play at the G, don't they? Because the other final is going to be played at the SCG. So I don't know how that's going to go. I think the Cats will be absolutely livid. That's another conversation for the next video. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what you thought was a highlight of the round. I honestly thought Jez's goal and Heaney's mark were absolute highlights. So yeah, let me know what you thought in the comments below, and thank you for watching. We'll see you in a couple of days for the prelim finals predictions video. Not just the AFL predictions, but my own as well. We'll see you guys there. Bye for now. Peace.